Hello, so this video is going to be a little bit long, and it is with the number one hand shape, and it's two hands. But some of the signs that I'm going to do, I've shown you before, but these are two-handed, so they're technically two-handed, but that way you'll just get a review, I guess. But not all of them, some of them are new. Anyway, so we have the first one, we've done hurt, I believe. We have the one hand shape, and we've done hurt, because remember I showed you like headache, earache, and you can point that ache, that pain, anywhere you so choose. I see some people do this, but I think it's because they're learning from a book, but you twist it, and which makes sense, like pain would be twisting. So you can move that over. Oh, my shoulder hurts, and oh, my stomach hurts. So you can move that around on your body. But if you want to just say pain in general, it would be this. Okay. Sin. I think we've already done this too. And it comes from the mouth and it goes out. Sometimes I'll end up doing it kind of like a relaxed X. But that's how that is. There's the sign for success. I'm going to do that a little bit later so it won't be so confusing. I think sometimes if I show you the signs that are close, that look close together, it's confusing. So the next one is opposite. Opposite, which makes sense, right? Opposite. Now, I am going to show you this something similar because well, no, never mind. I want to stay with my my first thought. Okay, so struggle. And you can even do it like, I'm struggling. You know, it's really kind of how you do it. You know, it's a struggle. Yeah, it's a struggle. Life's a struggle. To quake, which is different from nervous, but you can quake, but nervous or scared. Sometimes I'll do nervous with just one, like one leg is moving. But you can do this, oh, I was so scared. But also the sign for scared is this, and I think I've already showed you that too, but you can see it this way. So there's nothing wrong with that. So we said go. It's easy, right? Come, you could do that way as well. Parallel. Parallel. The roads run parallel. Remember, it's the same hand shape. During or meanwhile. So we take our hands, but we start here and we go up. It's just this big arch. During. So during that time, during, meanwhile, that kind of thing. Happen. Happen, or an event. Square, rectangle. You're just drawing it. This is the one I want. Accomplishment or success. It's right, success. And then finally, pa. The deaf will say p. Finally. You know, I struggle, and then p. Finally, it happened. If you want to conduct music. Computer. Now this is kind of an old sign. When you do the wheels, I think I've already showed you this before, because we do computer, computer, and most of those are, these are old signs. This is a newer sign. A wheel, two-handed. Now, a wheel, if you could say like, you know, your tire is flat, we kind of went over that one. But also, what about your wheelchair? And so wheelchair is down here further where the wheels are like this. Wheelchair. Wheelchair. Pass by. So here's our two people, and we pass by. We passed by each other, and then I just passed by, and I didn't even recognize her. That's another sign we're fixing to do. So, but then you kind of meet that person, like, nice to meet you. Meet. And that can be kind of directional. You're meeting that person face to face. But, however, a conflict of interest. Conflict. But there was a conflict. I had 2 appointments at the same time. Conflict. We'll do same time in just a minute. I think that's one of the last ones. And then saying, we've already done that too. We've also done transliterate, translate. Sometimes I'll do, if I want to do translate, I'll do translate, but you can do it just translate. It's the same thing. Now, remember we did during. Now, if we do since, oh, I've not seen you since a long time, since, you know, last year, whatever. That's used a lot. I see that. Corn on the cob, right? And some people do it just one-handed, corn, but you can do it two-handed. It's originally two-handed, and then people go to one-handed. And then like smile, smile, laugh. People do that one-handed as well, because like that's real good ASL structure. If you can do it with one hand, 2 hands, you should be able to do it with 1 hand. Okay, and this is report. This is report up at the mouth, right? Or answer. It's up at the mouth. To announce. I need to announce. I'm going to announce our engagement. Announce. Announce. And then a famous person, but this is not to be confused with, because like famous, okay, we have sin, we have success, and we have, oh, they're famous. They're famous. So it's a little bit lower. So those are really close signs, but again, in context. It's not really that confusing. If someone just says, oh, I know, if you're talking about like a show and you go, oh, well, they're famous. Yeah, they're famous. A success, a famous, it's the same kind of sign. It's the same concept, right? Quarrel or argue, you could do it this way, because like they're talking and they're talking, or you could do argue. Sometimes I've done this for like, and then they were just kind of going on, and then they blew up. They argue and blew up, but you can do argue as well. Variety, diverse, different, 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 different. This is different. Remember, this is but, however, different, different, different. It's different, 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 different. Different colors. Tiptoe. Quietly, tiptoe inside the house. If you had broken your leg or sprained your leg and you're limping, you know, this one's walking and this one's limping, right? A tornado. Some people do this for tornado, and I do it with the L's. Because I don't use this for tornado, because I do that for around. Oh, I'll see you around. Instead of, because I think it's confusing, so I would use tornado with the L hand shapes and use for around. See you around, like traveling or that kind of thing. Stars, and you can go pie, a whole bunch of stars, but stars. Oh, did you see the stars last night? They were bright. Sign language, signs. Do you know the sign for? And then you can spell it. Socks. Get your socks and shoes on. Socks. So your relatives, because this is your friends and this is your relatives. You know, I usually don't use that sign anymore. I remember when I first started, I did, but I use family now more than anything. Families, aunts, uncles, cousins. I usually don't see that anymore for relatives. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I did when I first started learning sign language. I did use that sign. Consider, think about, contemplate, and there's different signs for that. I've done this. Think about it. Think. Think about. I need to think about it. Think. so that is the sign. To cry, you can do it this way. Oh, right? It's crocodile. It's like, it's not really crying, right? Or they had this little tear that just dripped down, whatever. But you can get the whole gist of that. To talk, I usually don't use that sign anymore either. I use it to talk. Oh, we were chatting, but this is the sign for talk. Or to converse with another person, not just talking, but I'm conversing with another person. That is still there. Now, the one I was going to do that was close together, but I decided not to. Remember, we did this is the opposite. This could be even an adversarial, right? It's something that's the opposite. Now, for an allergy, you point to your nose and then do the sign for opposite. Allergy. Now, does that mean that you're sneezing kind of allergy? No. That's how it started. You have an allergy, but it is now the sign for any type of allergy. And then you can discuss, oh, what type of allergy, right? Type or kind. Remember we did the K hand shapes? What kind or what type? Not that you're a kind person. This is a type of or a kind of something. When. This is a difficult sign. So you have your left hand or the hand you don't write with just standing there. And then the one that you do write with, it does this. I'm going to get it dark enough, right? When you're just kind of drawing a circle in the air that comes back to that index finger. When? Oh, we're going to go and see the movie. Oh, when are you going to go? Objective or a goal, and notice it's up higher, and the reason why, because it's a goal, right? You're trying to reach it. If you have a goal and you capture it, so you have this goal, so it's higher and you're trying to achieve it. I'm working toward that goal. I'm working toward it. Until. This is a strange sign too. Until. Some of you just have to kind of memorize. Point. Now, point could be like, I'm going to make these points in my discussion, or you can have a point in a game, right? So remember, this was goal. Well, points, if I'm going to be talking, I'm going to be talking about blah, 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 blah. Or my point is, so it's lower. It's not a goal. It's a point. Now, if it is a point, like in a game, point, or like how many points do I get if I do blah, 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 blah. Point. That's what I do for that, is point. So point is like in a discussion, here's my different topics, or here's my different points that I'm going to make. Or I made that point, or my point is, and kind of thing. So it's more specific. So then there's other words like point and specific and going to that, because you're going to it. That's my point. It's the same thing. So when you go off the subject or you digress, then you also have your one hand shape on the hand you do not write with, and the hand that you do write with. It's here, it's at your point, and then it goes off. It goes off point. Here's your point. They go off point. Off the subject. Digress. I'm going to stray a little bit. There's also another sign for stray. They were on this path, and then they strayed. Strayed. To turn back. Oh, I had to turn back. And that's more of a gestural. There's not a specific sign like, oh, that's not right. Or, what are you talking about? Oh, I was walking along and, I had to turn back. Right? Or you could say, oh, I had to go back. You could even do that. I had to go back. Positive, I think we've already done this one. I've shown you this one before. We'll do it again because it's two-handed. And then the month, we did that also. And it's like the you know how we did like the rows for weeks on a calendar? So the month is all those weeks. I pay my rent, pay my mortgage every month. Temperature goes up and down. Your temperature goes up and down, up and down. It's the thermometer. Take your temperature, thermometer. Depend or rely on. Depend. Put my phone over here. Okay. I can't do it. Can't do it. Can't. To cut your finger. I mean, we did cut with scissors. This cut with your, you cut your finger, or I have a cut on my leg or my arm. You could do a cut that way. Just remember the same thing we did with pain. Then there's the sign for right. Now, which means correct. Now, not the direction of right, but the correct. You're correct. That's right. Right, that's right. If you were doing the sign for you need to go to the right, we would do to the right, or you driving and you turn to the right, or you're walking and you go to the right. But, oh, right, you're right, that's correct. Consistent or being regular, so you just, right. Yeah, always on time, they're regular, consistent. Remember, we did this one also means consistent, or it's uniform, or it's a standard, but this also means that a person would be consistent and faithful, regular, doing something. First. So first, we're going to do this. Second, and you have your numbers, but this is first. And then begin. Start, begin. And I think this is because you start a car, you put your key in there and you start it, boom. So you start or begin. To escape. And remember, the hand that you write with is the one that's doing the action. Escape. So start, but then escape. People also use this sign when they talk about eloping. They eloped. They escaped. They ran off and got married, right? So so this is escape. This is to pop up. Or if I'm thinking about something and I lost my train of thought, right? Goes out and I have an idea. It popped up in my head. So same difference, right? To kill or to murder or to slay. Notice. And it's more appear with your eye, but most people do it here. I noticed. I observed it. Not only just saw you, but I observed her behavior or whatever. I recognize that person from a long time ago. To fall in love. Again, sometimes I don't know why those are the signs. To show or to demonstrate. Show, demonstrate. I'm going to show you how I'm going to demonstrate. Present something to you. Owe. Oh, you have a debt. You owe it. This also means this as well. This. I don't really usually see that because deaf people don't really use English words like that. It's like, I want this. They would say, I want that. Or they would point to it instead of this. Or this toy. They usually don't do it that way. But owe or debt. So that's how you would use that one. To pay. Remember we did rent, so you would pay your rent. I paid my rent. I paid. So you want to check on something, and it's the same thing as kind of like research or to check. And it comes from the nose. I'm not sure why that is. Weekly, every week. You could do it every 2 weeks, right? But week, this is week. And then we did, I think we already showed this before. So last week is in the past. The next week is a little bit different because it's in the future. So instead of, it's, you kind of turn your hand to go in the future. Next week. I don't know why they don't do next week, but that's the sign is next week. Last week. This week. And to discuss. Debate. Discuss. Debate. To cancel. To criticize. Find fault. You could even, like, if you discriminate, prejudice, if you want to specifically use that word, you can do that, but this is to criticize. And then what? And a lot of times deaf people will spell it. What? But what? So you can kind of get that one. Okay. Once. Occasionally. Once in a while. Ever so often. So it's more than once, but once. Tall. Someone's tall. Or if you go to the doctor's office and they'll say, oh, what's your height? What's your height? And then they'll tell you 5'5" or whatever. Height. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're tall, but you can say, oh, you're tall, right? You could do that. Hour. So an hour goes, here's your clock base, and an hour goes around all the way, right? It's an hour. Now, if it's 30 minutes, it's only going to go to the 6. 30 minutes. We're going to have this activity for 30 minutes, and then we're going to do whatever. So 30 minutes only goes halfway around your clock, and then an hour goes around the clock. So that makes sense, right? I mean, that's some of these things are pretty easy, and then some things are like, what? Now, a minute. Now, a second, like if they're talking about like so many minutes and so many seconds, you can do a minute. You can do a minute, and then seconds even shorter. A minute and a second. Or you can spell second, S-E-C. But a minute, second. Alarm. Deep discussion or deep water, depth, anything like that. We did positive, now minus. And we already did time. I think we've done that twice now, time, but that is a two-handed sign. Day, we've done day before, day, because we have this is your base, this is your horizon, the sun, and it comes down, day. Some people do day. I learned day. It's just kind of shorter instead of going all this way up for the sun coming up and that kind of thing. Long or length. It was, oh, long time, because they're doing two signs at the same time. But this is long or length. Long or length. Garbage. Take out the trash. On the same vein is Episcopalian because of the sleeve. And so Episcopalian, so if you're talking about religion, like again, it's in context. Those are not trash. But Episcopalian is their sleeve. A communist. I don't know if some of you all remember to see like in the USSR flag or something like that, and it's got the hammer and the sickle. Well, this is the sickle and this is the hammer. So communist. People still use this as communist. It's just the sign for for communism. To swallow, and that one's kind of easy too. Then, so we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this for 30 minutes. Then we're going to do this for an hour. With that, then. Some people use it for either. Then or either, but see, I would do a choice. It depends on how your style of speaking. About. It's going to be about an hour. About. Tomato, it's two signs together. It's red, and then you're slicing. So you have red, and then you slice. Red slice is a tomato. Penalty or punishment. It's different than fall, right? Penalty or punish. If someone has muscle, power, might, most people do M for muscle, but you could do it because you're making it a muscle. I think I've done this before. So this is like preparatory, and the deaf school had a preparatory, which is basically the 8th grade, before they went to the high school for the deaf. So this is your freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. Sometimes I do it with my whole hand like this and I rarely use this one. So freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, 8th grade. You could do with this hand just as well. And I think it's just a style that I had, developed. So it doesn't have to be that way. You could do it either one. Okay, among or amid. So you're kind of just, weaving in and out of your fingers. Amid. Among. I don't use that one very often. Review. A lot of times I will do it with an R to review. But you can do it with one hand, with your one finger. Review. It's the same sign. Sometimes we get into more initials because there's a specific word that we want to use or we want someone to know. So, anyway, to insult, I usually use this one. I don't see this one too often, but I see this one a lot more. To be absent or to skip class or to be absent. Remember we did this for opposite? Well, and then we did this for conflict, complex. So it's kind of like you have the same kind of hand where your hands are. So if it's complex, complicated, it's complicated, complex. And I think we've already done this before, ugly, but you can do it with two hands as well, ugly. I think I did learn it with two hands, but I always do it with one hand. Bat, Batman, bat. And those are fun during the holiday, during Halloween, a bat, and they open up their wings, and right? You can have fun with some of those. A test or a quiz. I do this for a test. So now you're taking your fingers and you're drawing a question mark in the air. And you have it all out because questions, a whole bunch on a piece of paper. Questions. There's a whole bunch of questions. If it's a quiz, I usually spell it. So I usually don't, some people shorten it, but I just spell quiz. A test. Worm, because it's underground. I did that one with you the other day. I think another video recently. Worm, because it's in the ground. It's like a cross section. To be nosy. Oh, they're so nosy. You have to know everything. nosy. So this is recognize. I see it, I recognize, and then this is nosy. Nosy. At the same time or simultaneously, remember we did this one for depend, but this, simultaneously, same time. So simultaneously. So here and then goes down simultaneously. Goes into a Y hand shape. That's a little bit tricky, but it's fun. Shock. Shocked. Can you believe it? I was shocked. Okay, I think that is it. I know this is a long video, but I couldn't believe that we already finished. It seemed like it went by so fast. And I will give you some sentences that you can practice. So have fun today. Bye.